Good evening and welcome to Keiser University. This is 10 Questions, and tonight we have with us Melissa Goodson.
Hi.
And I'm going to call you the wrong name before the night's over because
Okay.
when you were my student, you weren't married.
I was
But
not.
but you did marry another student in class.
I did, yep.
Yes, and we're now
My
in.
classmate.
Yeah, Jeremy. Hello, Jeremy, and Grayson.
Yeah,
Is
that's our son. He's almost 2.
He's my goodness.
Yep.
That's amazing.
So moving along.
So you work at Sun and Fun.
Sun and Fun, yes.
What do you do at Sun and Fun?
Technically, it's actually Sun and Fun and the Aerospace Center for Excellence.
Okay.
The creative design manager there, and wear a lot of hats. Solely graphic design, of course. That's my main job, and I am part of a team of updating our website. I manage the social media team and do all the sending out all the printing and getting quotes and all of that side of things, the business side of things.
Okay.
So,
But a lot of people think of Sun and Fun as a small Lakeland event. It's a little bigger than that, isn't it?
yeah, it's the second largest air show in the U.S. and we not only do our annual International Flying and Expo every year, but we have year-round events as well, including When Pigs Fly South Barbecue Challenge and other fundraising events. We have many education programs.
Okay.
We're a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to preserve and enhance the future of flight through our events.
Right.
So all the proceeds that we make at these events go back into our education department.
Oh,
And
excellent. I
we,
didn't know
as
that.
of 2 weeks ago, we piloted our 50th high school student. So they're getting their
That's awesome.
pilot's license before they get their driver's license. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
Mhm.
y'all were that much. When I asked the question before we were talking, you were talking about the fact that you actually do a lot of national ads and that you use local companies to help you with some of the local advertising. And so, because I hear of Sun and Fun and I think local Lakeland, but when it comes to the advertising,
we need more help locally than we do nationally because the aviation community already knows who we are. We're just promoting when our event is and what we have going on. So we really, our biggest challenge is letting the local community know we're not just, airplanes flying around out there, and we want them to come in instead of, parking on the side of, Hardin and watching the air show.
Sure.
So, but we over 16 countries come to the event every year. So, it's pretty big.
Yeah,
It's pretty
that
big.
is
Yeah,
big.
it is.
Now, let's see. This was not your first position coming out of college, if I am correct.
It was not. When I left here, I took an internship at AdPro, and that was back before social media and outlets, and that we would do magazine with real estate
Okay.
listings in them.
Uh-huh.
So that's where I started. That's how I learned to make a magazine really in the real world.
Right.
And I took that and brought it to Sun and Fun because I have to do some publications there. So,
Okay.
and I did that for about 10 months, and then I got the job at Sun and Fun.
Okay. And
So-
you were one of numerous applicants, as I remember.
Yeah,
Do
a few hundred.
Do you know why they picked you?
I feel like maybe they felt like my work was a little bit more artistic. That really makes a difference.
Right.
I think anyone can stick, a few elements on a page, but, it's how you tell the story.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. And you went through a major rebranding. That was part of the challenge while you've been there,
Over the
right?
years, yeah, we sort of rebranded Sun and Fun as a whole. Back then, when I first started, we were more about, spring break for pilots, getting the Northerners to come down.
Uh-huh.
We're the first aviation event of the year.
Oh, wow.
But now, over the past 4 years, we've created an education corridor called our Aerospace Center for Excellence.
Right.
And so there's 2 sides to it now, which is really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. I knew that what you were doing with the high schools. I know actually
Mhm.
some people whose children are over there, and they speak highly of it. So that's
It's very
exciting.
inspiring. It's
Yeah.
very inspiring.
Education-wise, what do you remember from way back and it wasn't that long ago, I shouldn't say way back, when you were taking courses here, what stands out as, gee, I really enjoyed this, or
I think what I took advantage of is the freedom to work on projects for longer periods of time. You know, you really can sit and learn what you're doing, not only, you know, the software side,
Right.
but, you know, as a designer and telling stories. So I really remember enjoying all the different projects that we would work on.
Okay.
That was fun, and you know, the group projects and doing and those type of things, working with other people, and how different everybody is, you know, as far as
Right.
how they design, and so
It was a very unique group that you came through.
Yes.
I remember
it was.
you were working in the insurance industry when you were coming to school?
No, I was working at I was a receiving clerk at a company who distributed products to local fast food
Okay.
chains.
I just-
The only way I could be creative there was my spreadsheets. I would add colors to them, and
Just remember,
Yeah.
I tie in, you get all of a sudden getting really intense on color theory, sometime about halfway through web design, and you just became a completely different designer.
Yeah, and I'm still pretty particular. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, I really concentrate on color. And with Sun and Fun, our posters were known for how colorful they are. So, you know, on the education side of things, I'm, you know, a little bit more consistent in our branding. But with the fly-in, when we have a theme, I can really, you know, let loose a little bit and come out of the box. And, you know, I like to hide what I call Easter eggs in my posters,
Oh,
and
do you?
make little details that you can't really see looking at it first sight. You know, you have to kind of look a little bit closer, and just fun stuff.
Okay, I'm going
you
to have to
know?
go back and look at the posters again now.
Yeah, fun stuff.
How fun is that? That's
Yeah.
great, awesome. Okay, are there any questions from the audience? Yes, I see hands up in the back. Bill?
What sort of education did you have or knowledge did you have before you actually started taking classes here at Keiser?
Okay, what kind of previous graphic training had you had before?
None whatsoever. The only thing I knew how to do was draw. You know, I knew how to draw since I was little. So when I was coming out of high school, I'm like, what am I going to do with my artistic ability? And I was sort of very, I was being stubborn about it, because I'm like, well, if I have to do it for a job, you know, it's not going to be fun anymore. And I found graphic design, and it was like the answer to everything. And I always say it's the only thing I know how to do. So because I was able to use that artistic quality that I have inside and really apply it to my career,
Right.
which is kind of a gift if you really think about it, you know, because you know, not everybody has that quality. So to start off with that is pretty neat. You know, you just have to find where to apply it.
Right.
So
And
that's
you
what I
You
did.
found, you
Yeah.
found a good fit there.
Yeah.
Certainly.
And I went to another college before I found
Oh,
Keiser to
okay.
look into their program. And I remember the day I was sitting there, I was so nervous, you know, and I remember they made a spectacle about it was somebody's birthday.
Okay.
And they just sort of ignored me, and I was over there, and I was like, wow, this is really important to me. I don't think it's important to them, so that's why I came here.
Well,
So-
their loss, our gain.
I
We're glad
know,
for it.
I know.
Thank you.
I know.
Okay, Tiffany, you had a question.
For your job, like, what is one of your, I guess, like, what's the toughest thing you have to do on a day-to-day basis?
What's-
As far as, yeah, your work, I would say.
Multitasking is hard. You know, we have a lot going on, and it's just me. And working for a nonprofit organization, you know, we can't really hire a huge staff. So I do wear a lot of hats. I used to take my work home a lot, but ever since I had, you know, Grayson, I can't do that. So, and I've really drawn that line. So multitasking and getting everything done is hard. But, you know, we just somehow do it, you know.
Get through it.
Yeah, but I would say that would be the most challenging thing.
Okay, want you to relate a story to me. I had students once upon a time who were supposed to pick up the phone and call a graphic designer, just to ask them 3 or 4 questions. I tend to remember a little. Do you remember what I'm speaking of?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When they called you, you said, "Why don't you come on down and I'll give you some time?"
Mm-hmm.
And the student didn't know how to react. They like hung up or said, "No, I just wanted to do this on the
They
phone."
just wanted to do it on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I feel like, if you are pursuing something, you really need to be face to face. I mean, in this age that we're in, it's so easy just to be like, just email it to me. And you really can't always get a good scope of a person, through an email
No,
or through a
that's true.
text so I'm a little grateful for being on the other side of smartphones for a little bit, because you can appreciate, really the value of being face to face with somebody. Yeah. So, but yeah.
Hint to the class. If I give that assignment again and somebody offers to show you their office and mentor you a little bit, it might be a good thing to do. I just remember our email, and it was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't prep the students better than that.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for students who are considering this field or considering Keiser, either one?
Definitely Keiser. I mean, I always look back at my time here. It was an important time, and I don't forget it for sure. But I would say definitely, if I could give a little bit of advice, I'll give you this one, because this one I always give. Because one of you said this a long time ago, and it always stuck with me, to always have relationships with your printers, your large format people, because they will save you when you really need them. And I have a relationship with I use several printers, printing companies locally. Some of them I use for specific things, but I have one in general that is my go-to, and I can call them all the time, and it's great because if you're not on that pre-press side where they're printing it, you don't, that's a whole different side of things.
Oh, it is.
And so you kind of learn, but I would say that would be my number one piece of advice. I always say that. And I would say be open to other things besides graphic design, because when you get into that field, you never know what they're gonna ask you to do. You're their creative person, and so it might not be designing a postcard or an ad. It might be designing an airplane, or a paint job on an airplane.
Right.
It might be color schemes on buildings. It might be just a myriad of things, just using your creative skill doing something different other than the graphic side. So that's definitely, because I've had to switch gears. I mean, and sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I can do that, but I do it.
Yeah.
Because the creative, always saves the day.
Yes,
so.
it does.
Yeah.
Okay. Right before we were talking, and then I'm gonna let you go, and I appreciate your
It's
time.
okay, yeah.
But you were talking about a local firm that you use for some of your work, Intensely Creative,
Yes.
and two other designers
Yes.
who happen to both be Keiser grads as well, Anthony and Brittany.
Yes. Anthony is big on video over there. He does a lot of their video. And Brittany, she's on the design side. I've worked with her on our program book. Our schedules have gotten so busy, we have to really reach out for some help sometimes, and they've helped in that area, and really easy to work with. So they keep on deadline and get the job done.
So, as Keiser students, we did well.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
that's kind of.
yeah.
I was kind of
Yeah,
checking up
okay.
on the former students, is what that
Yeah.
was, since you're now their client. It's like, okay, how good are they? Are they really
Yeah.
as good as we think they are?
Yes, they are.
They are.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Give Jeremy my best,
I will.
and keep posting lots of baby pictures.
All right,
Okay?
thank you.
Thank you so much for listening.